Are you feeling exhausted, burdened by endless worries, and questioning if these struggles will ever truly end? Life can feel like an uphill battle, where every step forward meets resistance, and even small victories seem overshadowed by new challenges. In these moments, the weight of life can feel unbearable, and the light at the end of the tunnel appears unreachable. You might wonder, why me? Why now? Perhaps you feel as though you've been left to carry your burdens alone. But let me remind you of this truth. You are not alone. God is with you. These challenges you face, overwhelming as they seem, are not here to destroy you. They are shaping you into a stronger, braver, and more compassionate version of yourself. Every hardship is part of the path God has set for you, guiding you toward growth, purpose, and fulfillment. The dark days may feel endless now, but just as night gives way to dawn, your struggles will pass. As Psalm 35 says, "Weeping may endure for a night, but joy comes in the morning." God is using these storms to prepare you for peace and abundance. Today, I bring you a message of hope and strength. God's hand is upon you, guiding and supporting you through every obstacle. As Jeremiah 29:11 reminds us, "For I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord, plans to prosper you and not to harm you, plans to give you hope and a future." Surrender your worries to Him, for He promises in Matthew 11:28, "Come to me, all you who are weary and burdened, and I will give you rest." Trust in God's everlasting love, and remember, everything will be okay, for He is in control. Life often feels like a labyrinth, an endless maze filled with twists, turns, and unexpected dead ends. Some days, it may seem like you've been wandering for hours, days, or even years, searching for a way out. The walls around you seem to grow taller, and the weight of feeling trapped presses heavily on your heart. You push forward, hoping for clarity, but instead, you're met with confusion and despair. In those moments, it's easy to feel defeated, to believe the maze has no exit. But let me remind you, God is with you. You are not lost when you trust in Him. As Proverbs 3:5-6 says, "Trust in the Lord with all your heart, and lean not on your own understanding. In all your ways submit to Him, and He will make your paths straight." Every maze has a way out, and God has prepared one for you. The key is to pause, pray, and trust His guidance. In the quietness of prayer, you'll find strength, wisdom, and peace as He lights your path. The struggles you face are not punishments, but opportunities for growth. As Romans 8:28 reminds us, "In all things, God works for the good of those who love Him." Even when the way forward seems unclear, God is working for your good. This message isn't just about shifting your perspective, but about recognizing God's presence in your challenges. Trust Him, for He is the light that leads you out of the darkest maze. With God, there is always a way forward. Every challenge is an opportunity with God. Every challenge you face, no matter how overwhelming it seems, holds a hidden opportunity for growth and transformation through God's plan. This is not just a comforting thought. It's a profound truth found in His Word and reflected in countless lives. Yet, it's a truth we often struggle to accept, especially when pain, uncertainty, or hardship clouds our vision. When life feels unrelenting, it's difficult to imagine how God could bring something good out of such difficulties. But let me share with you a story that beautifully illustrates how God's hand works through every challenge. There was once a poor farmer living in a small village. His livelihood depended on a single horse that he used to plow his fields. One day, the horse ran away, leaving the farmer without the means to work his land. The neighbors, seeing his misfortune, consoled him, saying, "What terrible luck! How will you survive?" But the farmer, trusting in God's plan, replied calmly, "God knows best." A few days later, to everyone's surprise, the horse returned, bringing with it a herd of wild horses. The neighbors exclaimed, "What great fortune! You must be so lucky." Yet, the farmer remained steady, saying, "God knows best." As the farmer's son tried to tame one of the wild horses, he fell and broke his leg. Again, the neighbors sympathized, saying, "What bad luck." But the farmer, still trusting in God, replied, "God knows best." Not long after, soldiers came to the village to conscript young men for war. Because of his injury, the farmer's son was spared. The neighbors, finally understanding the bigger picture, said, "What a blessing in disguise. You are truly fortunate." The farmer simply smiled. Yes, God always knows best. This story reminds us of a profound truth found in Romans 8:28. And we know that in all things God works for the good of those who love him, who have been called according to his purpose. What seems like a setback in the moment may be God's way of protecting or redirecting you toward his greater plan. Challenges, no matter how painful, are not meant to destroy you. Instead, they are tools God uses to teach, transform, and guide you. Think about your own life. How many times has God used hardships to bring you unexpected blessings? Losing a job may have opened the door to a better opportunity. A broken relationship may have taught you to lean on God and prepared you for something healthier. A failure may have humbled you, strengthened your character, and redirected you toward success in his time. Challenges force us to confront our fears, stretch our faith, and rely on God's strength instead of our own. As 2 Corinthians 12:9 reminds us, "My grace is sufficient for you, for my power is made perfect in weakness." When you feel overwhelmed, instead of asking, "Why is this happening to me?" ask, "God, what are you teaching me through this? How can this draw me closer to you?" Behind every hardship lies a seed of opportunity, planted by God, waiting for you to trust him to nurture it. It may not be obvious at first. It rarely is. But if you trust the process and surrender your burdens to God, even the darkest moments can lead to profound growth. Remember, challenges are not the end of the road. They are part of God's journey for you. They are stepping stones, leading you to become the person he created you to be. As you walk through life's trials, hold on to this truth. The Lord is close to the brokenhearted and saves those who are crushed in spirit. Psalm 34:18. So when life feels heavy, lean into God's promises. Trust that he is working all things together for your good, even when you can't yet see it. With God, every challenge is an opportunity for something greater. Practical steps to overcome challenges with God's guidance. When life feels overwhelming, it's easy to let despair take hold. The weight of your struggles can feel paralyzing, making every step forward seem heavier. But let me remind you, overcoming challenges doesn't require grand gestures or immediate solutions. It begins with trusting God and taking small, intentional steps with his guidance. The first step is to pause and seek God's presence. Take a moment of stillness to breathe deeply and turn to him in prayer. In life's chaos, it's easy to forget the power of simply stopping to listen for his voice and draw strength from his promises. Psalm 46:10 reminds us, "Be still and know that I am God." In those quiet moments, you'll find his peace and wisdom. Another effective step is prayer and journaling. Share your heart with God, your fears, worries, and dreams, and write them down. Writing untangles your thoughts, and God helps you see from his perspective. Then ask him, "Lord, what can I do with what you've given me today?" This question shifts your focus from what's beyond your control to what he has placed within your reach. It might be something simple, like organizing your thoughts, making a phone call, or resting in his peace. Trust. Proverbs 3:5-6. Trust in the Lord with all your heart. In all your ways submit to him, and he will make your paths straight. Let me share a story. A friend of mine lost their job and was overwhelmed with fear. Instead of despair, they prayed, wrote down their goals, and asked God for direction. Slowly, they took small steps, learning new skills, reconnecting with old colleagues, and trusting God's timing. Progress wasn't immediate, but within months, they were offered a role that exceeded their prayers, a position that perfectly aligned with their values and reignited their passion. This story shows that it's not about eliminating challenges, but trusting God and taking steps of faith. As Philippians 4:13 says, "I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me." Even when progress feels slow, every small step taken in faith is a declaration of trust in God's plan. As Isaiah 40:31 promises, "Those who hope in the Lord will renew their strength. They will run and not grow weary. They will walk and not faint." Each small action adds up, paving the way for transformation. So, when life feels overwhelming, pause, breathe, and surrender your burdens to God. Trust that He is leading you to a brighter, more abundant future. Trust the process and stay persistent with God's guidance. Life often feels like climbing a mountain. Some days are steep and exhausting, with obstacles that make every step a struggle. Other days feel smoother, with clearer paths and rewarding progress. Regardless of the terrain, the key is to keep moving forward, trusting that God is guiding every step. Even when the journey feels endless or progress painfully slow, remember that with God, every step, no matter how small, brings you closer to His perfect plan for your life. Progress isn't about leaps and bounds, but small, faithful steps taken in obedience to Him. Even when it seems like nothing is happening, trust that God is working behind the scenes. Galatians 6:9 assures us, "Let us not become weary in doing good, for at the proper time we will reap a harvest if we do not give up." Consider the gardener planting seeds. They water the soil daily, even when there's no visible growth. Beneath the surface, however, the seeds are taking root and preparing to sprout. If the gardener gave up too soon, the flowers would never bloom. Similarly, the progress in your life may be hidden, but God is laying a foundation for something greater. Proverbs 16:9 reminds us, "In their hearts, humans plan their course, but the Lord establishes their steps." Even slow progress guided by Him leads you exactly where He intends. Break your God-given goals into smaller, manageable tasks. It's easy to feel overwhelmed by the bigger picture, but small steps make the journey achievable. Celebrate milestones, no matter how small, as they're reminders of His faithfulness. Each achievement is evidence of His presence, walking beside you and moving you forward. Surround yourself with godly encouragement. Spend time in His Word, meditate on uplifting scriptures, and seek fellowship with those who pray for and inspire you. These moments act as spiritual fuel, keeping you aligned with His peace as you climb. Setbacks will come, but they are temporary detours, not dead ends. Romans 8:28 reminds us, "And we know that in all things God works for the good of those who love Him." Challenges carry valuable lessons, often preparing you for blessings ahead or redirecting you toward His better path. Persistence paired with faith in God's timing is your greatest ally. Even when the road feels long and progress invisible, trust that today's work will yield results in His perfect time. Isaiah 40:31 promises, "But those who hope in the Lord will renew their strength." When the mountain feels too steep to climb, rely on God's strength. Trust His process. Stay persistent in faith and take one step at a time with Him. In time, you'll see that the perseverance was worth it and that the destination God prepared is more beautiful than you could have imagined. Conclusion. Trust in God's plan. Life is a journey filled with unexpected twists, turns, and challenges that test us in ways we never imagined. It's not a straight path, nor is it always easy to navigate. But here's the eternal truth. With trust in God, patience in His timing, and persistence in your faith, every obstacle you face becomes a stepping stone to something far greater. These moments of struggle are not meant to defeat you. They are designed to shape you into a stronger, wiser, and more compassionate version of yourself. Each challenge carries a lesson, and every hardship you endure is a testament to God's refining work in your life. When the weight of life feels too heavy to carry, pause for a moment and surrender it to God. Take a deep breath and remind yourself of His promises. As Jesus said in Matthew 11:28, "Come to me, all you who are weary and burdened, and I will give you rest." The struggles you face today are not the end of your story. They are part of God's plan to lead you into a brighter, more fulfilling chapter. Trust that He is working all things together for your good, even when it's hard to see. So, nurture the dreams He has placed in your heart, no matter how distant they may seem. Cherish the loved ones He has blessed you with, even when life feels overwhelming, and trust deeply in His purpose, even when it's not yet clear. Remember the promise of Jeremiah 29:11. "For I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord, plans to prosper you and not to harm you, plans to give you hope and a future." If this message has touched your heart, share it with someone who might need to hear God's truth today. A simple word of encouragement, guided by Him, can change someone's life. And if you'd like to continue receiving messages of faith, hope, and love, subscribe to the channel and click the notification bell so you'll never miss an update. Together, we can build a community grounded in God's grace and love. Before you go, I invite you to revisit one of our previous videos where we explored how to find peace in the midst of life's storms. It's a message that complements today's words beautifully, reminding us that even in the darkest moments, God's light shines through. You can find the link in the description below or by clicking here. Thank you for joining me today, and always remember, with God, everything will be okay. Keep trusting Him, keep moving forward, and know that He is with you every step of the way.